Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday, March 16th. This week we are exploring the second Yama, Satya, truth or truthfulness. Let's find a comfortable, easy seat. And as you settle in, I'll share a truth that, like a lot of universal truths or deep truths, we see them represented in faiths kind of across the board. So this one could be traced back to Sufism, Buddhism, and some current Christians are also sharing this message of speaking with truth and having things pass the 3 gates of speech, or in Buddhism they have 5. It's a beautiful Sufi saying: before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. At the first gate, ask yourself, is it true? At the second gate, ask, is it necessary? At the third gate, ask, is it kind? In Buddhism, the 5 gates are spoken at the right time, spoken in truth, spoken affectionately, beneficially, and with a mind of goodwill, which I think is a very important point. And then a well-known British evangelist, Alan Redpath, says, he uses the word think. Is it true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and kind? So whichever one resonates with you, that's an option to explore as we move through the day and week, passing those gates: kind, necessary, and true. If you'd like to begin the asana practice with a chant of Om, you can draw your hands together in front of your heart, sitting tall with dignity, keeping in mind that this auspicious sound can be thought of as representing our experience of existence. So that all of being, right in this vibration of sound. Inhale deeply for Om. When you're ready, release your hands to your legs. Drop your chin towards your chest. And moving with your breath in a way that feels nice. Inhale, lift your chin any amount. And exhale, lower your chin back towards the chest. Another way of practicing Satya, truthfulness, is practicing in a way that is true to your body in this moment. So not forcing things, moving your head up and down, lifting the chin as you inhale, lowering as you exhale. If it feels right to you, you might start to find a back bend as you inhale, shoulder blades sliding together, and as you exhale, shoulder blades sliding apart. So starting to transition into essentially flexing the spine through cow and cat. You can hold on to your shins or knees. Or as you perhaps are inviting more movement in, you might want to lift your arms, opening your arms out as you inhale, and closing your arms as you exhale, maybe giving yourself a hug. Opening as you inhale, closing as you exhale, maybe switching the arms if you're giving yourself a hug. Keep breathing, and you might still just be lifting and lowering your chin. That is perfectly fine as well. A few more cycles of breath. If you are opening your arms out wide and closing, then I'll invite us to kind of flip our perspective. I was saying open as we inhale and open the front of the body, close as we exhale and close the front of the body. But perhaps you kind of flip that, and when we open the front of our body, we can notice we're closing the back of the body. And as you exhale and close off the front of the body, you might notice opening on the back side. Another breath or two to play with it in any way that makes sense with you or just feels good. Returning to your easy seat, on an inhale, reach your arms out and up. And on an exhale, fold forward, releasing your hands to the earth. Try to keep your hips settled on the ground. You might be seated on a folded blanket. You might keep your spine long, or maybe you round your spine. If you have blocks available, it might feel really good to put one under your head. If you ever feel sharp pain in your knee, please back out and notice which leg you've got folded in front. You can, of course, be modified. You might not have your legs crossed. You might be seated in a chair. Just making it work for you, knowing that the breath and the present moment awareness is really the depth of yoga. Being here right now for your lived experience. As you're ready, sit up tall. If you've got props available, option to put a block between your ankles. Keep the other block close by. Now, as we play with Navasana boat pose, you can keep your hands planted behind you, shoulder blades sliding together and down, navel drawing back towards the spine and up towards the heart. So we're like scooping the abdominal muscles in. You can stay just like this, or perhaps lift your toes off of the ground. If you've got props available and you want to play with them, you could also add a block on top of your shins, or you can hold it between your hands and explore lifting your arms. So as always, choose your own adventure. There are always lots of levels of difficulty that you can explore. And it's also perfectly fine to keep your feet on the ground and really focus on lifting the heart from this seated position. Wherever you're going, notice your breath. If your breath is not full, see if you can start to really fill it out. You might be supporting your legs with your hands, maybe reaching to the distance. If your toes are lifted off of the ground in any capacity, let's spread them wide. Keep breathing just another cycle or two. See if you can lift your spine, lift your crown just a little more. Maybe you straighten your legs for this next round of breath. And however it's gone, let's all put our feet on the ground. Rest your arms on your knees, sit tall with an inhale. And option to exhale, let gravity have its way as you round your spine. You can let your knees knock open. Maybe roll your head side to side, just a breath or two of recovery. Noticing how quickly our experience can change. Maybe your heart rate spiked or your breathing pattern shifted. As you're ready, sit tall again. Cross your legs, but with the opposite leg in front, so the way that might feel a little funny. On an inhale, reach out and up. Really sink and settle your hips into the ground, engage your core, and on an exhale, hinge forward, lowering your arms when needed, and settling in for a few breaths in seated forward fold. You might let the awareness rest in the space between your shoulder blades. On the next breath, notice if there's tension held in the jaw or neck, and on your exhale, you might imagine letting that go. And as you're ready, inhale to sit up tall. And we'll make our way right into tabletop. You can always pad under your knees with a blanket. If you have blocks available, we'll keep them handy. Pass through cow and cat a time or two. It just always feels like a friendly thing for the spine. And returning to a neutral tabletop, engage your abdominal muscles. Press the tops of your feet into the mat so we have a firm foundation, and then walk your hands forward, passing through Anahatasana, heart-melting pose. Keep your arms engaged so the forearms might not be touching the ground. Notice where you're feeling sensation and stretch. Imagine breathing there, filling the space up with a bubble of breath. And then slowly walk your hands back under your shoulders. If you have a block available, option to bring it between your index fingers and thumbs. Lower your elbows to the ground. Make sure that they are under your shoulders. If you don't have a block, you could also do that little measuring trick where we cup our hands around our elbows or cup our fingers around the elbows to make sure that the elbows are pretty well shoulder distance apart. Plant your hands firmly. Root down through your forearms. Tuck your toes, big breath in, engage the core, and exhale, lift your knees off of the ground, sliding your heart back towards your thighs, coming into dolphin pose. Breathing here. Svanasana, dolphin pose. Always moving in a way that works for your body, so be kind to yourself here. You might tiptoe your feet a little closer to your elbows. You can bend your knees generously to help you keep your spine long, hips lifting. You might imagine growing roots through your elbow points down into the mat, pushing the ground away and up overhead. Lots of effort in dolphin pose, and it's really early for a lot of us. Go easy on yourself. Another breath, maybe shaking your head out. And as you exhale, lower your knees, bring your arms back by your sides, rest yourself in child's pose, Balasana. Keeping in mind that Balasana is always available to you. You could perhaps even stay here for the next 15 minutes. If you're ready, then from child's pose, let's reach the arms up overhead. You can set the block out of the way, tuck your toes, full breath in, and as you exhale, find downward facing dog. Imagining melting your heart back towards your thighs, just like we did in dolphin pose. You could imagine your inner thighs spiraling towards each other and back to the sky behind you, looking at the space of your thighs. Head heavy. On your inhale, look forward between your hands. Exhale, step or swing your left foot to meet the left thumb. Lower your right knee. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. And if this isn't working, remember you can always keep your fingertips on the ground. You can always modify. Let this practice be truly your own. It's one of the beautiful things about practicing at home is hopefully you feel really empowered to let it be whatever it is. No judgment, no worries of judgment. You can stay as you are or open your arms out wide. It might feel really good to stay like this, or perhaps you clasp your hands behind your back, right thumb on top, shoulder blades drawing together and down. From here, option to tuck your right toes. Maybe you lift your right knee off of the ground. So you could be in any variation of what I've offered, or maybe you have some brilliant idea outside of my suggestions. Go for it wherever you are. Another breath or two. And as you're ready, release your hands to the ground. Step yourself into plank pose. After a breath or two in plank, carry the weight into your right hand, shifting into side plank. You can keep your left foot in front, giving you a little support or kickstand. If you want a little more today, then option to step your left foot back behind you, press your hips up, and transition into Kamatkarasana, wild thing. You might also be in child's pose. Another couple of breaths wherever you're going with it. If you flipped into wild thing, then we'll lower our left hand back to the mat, transition back into plank pose for an inhale. Exhale, find downward facing dog or child's pose. If your right wrist is unhappy, then you might roll it in circles, opening and closing the hand. If you took child's pose, let's find our way to downward facing dog. From there, we'll inhale, looking forward. Exhale, step or swing the right foot to the top of the mat. Lower your left knee, untuck the toes if you like. Reach your arms to the sky. Breathing deeply in this crescent lunge. Option to open your arms out wide. Option to clasp your hands in yoga mudra behind your back, left thumb on top this time. Again, the heads of the shoulders rolling together and down. You might lift your gaze. You might tuck your left toes and lift your knee. A few more breaths wherever you're going. Notice if the mind is still here or if it's wandered away as it tends to do. Bringing it back with your next inhale and exhale. Let's all reach to the sky with a breath in. Exhale, lower the hands to the earth and step yourself back into plank pose. Knowing that you have options and you are completely in control of your experience, option to transition into side plank, coming to the left edge of your left foot, pinky side edge. Lift your hips, engage your core. You can step your right foot in front of you as you explore side plank in this way. Or perhaps you step your right foot behind you, lift your hips to the sky, and pivot into wild thing. Keep in mind, wherever you go, it should serve your highest good. So if it's just serving the ego, then it might not feel good, and maybe we should try something else. Breathing deeply wherever you are, another breath. And if you took wild thing, we'll lower our right hand back to the earth. Let us all pivot back into plank. Inhale and exhale to child's pose or down dog. 3 to 5 breaths, taking what you need in the moment. Meeting in downward facing dog. On an inhale, look forward between your hands. Core muscles engaged, knees soft. Exhale, make your way to the top of the mat. On your inhale, rise all the way up, reaching, lifting, opening the heart. Exhale your hands to heart space and down by your sides. On your inhale, reach up. On your exhale, fold down. Hands touch down, step your left foot back and out, setting up for warrior two. On an inhale, cartwheel your arms up, Virabhadrasana 2. As you settle in, you might glance down, make sure you can see your right big toe on the inside of your right knee. Feel the pinky side edge of your back foot. The left toes are pointed towards the top left corner of your mat. Lengthen your low back, anchoring the tailbone down. Shoulders staying over hips. There's a tendency for the torso to shift forward. Those of us who live in Norfolk, that's the Norfolk mermaid pose. We want to pull it back, shoulders over hips. Breathe deeply here. You can stay as you are or flip your right palm to the sky. Inhale, reach up, exalted warrior or Viparita Virabhadrasana. Long side body. Return to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Clasp your hands behind your back. Option, let's do left thumb on top. Inhale, lift the crown of your head, and exhale to fold forward, lifting your knuckles to the sky as much as works for you. And if it's too much for your shoulders to be clasping the hands, you can just have them reaching back in space. Baddha Virabhadrasana, humble warrior. See if you can energize your left leg a little more. On an inhale, return to warrior two. Exhale, hands to your hips, straighten your right leg, pivot into a wide-legged stance. Lengthen your tailbone, so anchoring your low back as you lift your crown. Exhale, hinge forward. Wide leg forward fold. You can release your hands to your feet or ankles, or maybe walk them back behind you. Keep a connection to the pinky side edges of your feet and know that you can bend your knees anytime. If you bend your knees, notice if they knock in and try to keep the knees pointing in the same direction as your toes. From wide leg forward fold, we'll all rise up, long spine. You can bring hands to hips if that's helpful. Pivot on your left heel, so now your left toes point towards the back of your mat. Shift your right toes to point to what would be your back right corner. Bend into the left knee. Heel to arch alignment in the feet. Tailbone anchoring down as we glance at the left big toe. We can see on the inside of the left knee. Feel the pinky side edge of your back foot. Core engaged. Reach your fingertips away from each other, reaching really wide, broad through the heart space. Gazing over your left fingertips. Breathe fully. Noticing the open-hearted nature of warrior pose. And if you'd like, flip your left palm to the sky, reach up an exalted warrior, really stretching the left side body. Again, this is all the heart space, stretching the little intercostal muscles between the ribs. Breathing fully in Viparita Virabhadrasana. And when you're ready, release, returning through warrior two, and then clasping your hands behind your back if that's available. You take the right thumb on top this time. You can also hold the wrists or anything that helps you open the heart on the front side. Inhale for lengthen the spine, and exhale, hinge over your left leg, left shoulder coming towards the left knee. You could lift the knuckles towards the sky, shoulder blades sliding together. Keep the connection to the pinky side edge of your right foot. See if you can soften your head and neck a little. Lots going on here in Baddha Virabhadrasana, humble warrior. Doing the best you can. Another full slow breath. As you're ready, find your way back to warrior two. Notice how this all feels. Hands to hips. Pivot yourself back to wide leg stance. This time, let's pivot the heels in. Knees in alignment with the toes. Start to bend your knees. Do it just a little bit so that we can check our alignment. A lot of us will have the knees knocking in, so you might even bring your hands to your thighs to help support them opening out. Imagine you were leaned back against a wall. Even better, lean back against a wall and slide down it. You can keep your hands on your thighs if that's helpful, or you can reach your arms out wide, coming into a goddess squat. Try to send some energy to the pinky side edges of your feet. Engage your gluteal muscles. One more breath. Release, standing up. Heel toe your feet in. You might give your legs a little tap tap massage. Come to the top of your mat. We'll just flow our way to the ground. Inhale, reaching out and up, maybe coming to your tiptoes. Exhale, folding forward, softening the knees as you go. Sink your hips so low that you can drop your seat to the earth. Plant your feet. Option to put a block between your ankles or thighs, as we'll quickly flow through bridge. Roll onto your spine. And if you would like to take a supported bridge with the block under your sacrum, or you'd like to do a full bridge, go for it. I'll cue us through some flowing bridges. So stepping the heels closer to the hips. Squeeze the block if it's there. On an inhale, lift your low back off of the earth, and then peel the spine off of the mat, floating your arms up overhead as you go. And exhale, lowering arms and spine. No matter how you're exploring this bridge pose, let's be sure that our chin is lifted to the sky. The chest is coming to the chin. We don't want to tuck the chin to the chest. So what we're really doing here is encouraging the natural curve of the cervical spine. So keeping the chin lifted. And from wherever you've been with your bridge pose, we will all return to be on our back. Bring your feet out wide to the edges of the mat. Let your knees knock together. Rest your hands perhaps on your hip bones, maybe one hand on your low belly, one hand on your heart space. Taking a couple of breaths here. Hopped around through several postures in the last 30 minutes. You might notice if you feel any sensation, tingling, or awareness in the body. You can keep your body as it is or transition to Shavasana, corpse pose, sending your legs long, arms out wide, palms to the sky. Breathing deeply wherever you take it. And a reminder that on Wednesdays, we offer the additional 15 minutes of meditation practice. If you need to jump off before then, I will ring the bell in just a moment, and you're welcome to transition into the rest of your day. If you have the time to stay on for meditation, then let's take a longer Shavasana, staying with your breath and your experience a bit longer. As you breathe here, I will remind you of these 5 gates of speech in Buddhism called the Vaca Sutta. The 5 gates that our speech may pass through. It is spoken at the right time. It is spoken in truth. It is spoken affectionately, spoken beneficially, spoken with a mind of goodwill. Or to simplify it, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Savor the slower time of gently releasing Shavasana. If it's comfortable, if it's reasonable, you might keep your eyes closed as you invite movement back into your body. Perhaps deepening your breath, perhaps stretching the body, reaching the arms overhead. As you're ready, we'll meet in an easy seated posture. You might keep your eyes closed, or maybe you open your eyes, letting your gaze be soft and unfocused. You could look down your cheeks. We'll transition into some practice of pranayama. This will be the box breath. So this is where we inhale, retain the breath, exhale, retain the emptiness, all in equal measure. So I'll use the tongue drum to hopefully keep rhythm. So as you're ready, inhale, exhale, let the breath go. Then we'll inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold full. Exhale. Whoops. Hold empty. Let me try that again. Inhale. Hold full. Exhale. Hold empty. Inhale. Hold full. Exhale. Hold empty. You know, some days the drum's with me, some days not. Inhale. Hold full. Exhale. Hold empty. Inhale. Hold full. Exhale. Hold empty. One more time. Inhale. Hold full. Exhale. Hold empty. You can continue the box breath or release it into natural breathing. observing. Perhaps you notice the temperature of the breath coming and going. You might rest your awareness on the entrance of your nostrils, noticing there if you can feel the flow of breath. Continue breathing as I share a quick reading. On Monday, we used Kali Mudra, and we'll have the opportunity to use that again. Just a little background. In Kali Mudra, this is where we interlace our fingers and then release the index fingers to point at the sky. The index fingers represent the sword of the fierce goddess Durga. The goddess Durga represents the empowerment that enables us to stand in our truth. The index fingers represent her sword that slays illusion. To make this a moving meditation, we'll have the opportunity to lift our hands in the mudra overhead and exhale, lowering them. So if you choose to do that, then we can imagine inhaling to lift the arm, exhale, lowering the hands as if we are slashing through our illusions. Alternately, we could inhale, chanting in our minds or out loud, Sat. Exhale, lowering the arms, Nam, which means truth is my nature or truth is my identity. So if you would like to take this moving mudra meditation, you can interlace your hands, index fingers released, pointing to the sky, Kali Mudra. Inhale to lift your arms up overhead, exhale to lower them. Inhaling and exhaling. Perhaps imagining the index fingers as a sword slicing through the illusions, the untruths. Sometimes chanting mantra can help us keep our busy minds focused, in which case, inhale Sat, exhale Nam. Doing this at a pace that works for you. You know, in some lineages of yoga, this would be very quick. Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam. Maybe it feels better to move slowly for you. Notice if the mind is pulling away from the present moment. Maybe it's thinking about an ache or pain in the body. If it's pain, then you might rearrange. If it's just the mind being busy, then just notice it and keep returning to the movement, to the mantra, Sat Nam, or to following the breath. Imagining the sword of the fierce goddess Durga slashing through all of our illusions, all of the untruths. If the moving meditation is serving you, you can of course keep going. Option to come to stillness. You might keep your hands in Kali Mudra in front of the heart. Or you might release the hands. Your choice as we transition into an open awareness meditation. Practicing noticing what's here. You might notice what calls your attention first. It could be sounds, external distractions, internal distractions of the chatty mind. Maybe it's sensations in the body. And as you notice whatever is here, realize that you are noticing. You are the observer of the experience. And if the mind feels particularly unsettled or unfocused, you might return to repeating mantra as a tool to keep the mind here. Sat, Nam. If it's helpful, inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. Noticing if the mind has ran away, run away, bringing it back. Sat Nam. Inhale, exhale. Remaining with your breath, 3 more full, slow cycles. See how present and aware you can be of your next inhale and exhale. Inhaling, I am aware that I am inhaling. Exhaling, I am aware that I am exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. If you'd like to close by chanting Om, you can draw your hands together in front of your heart. Inhaling deeply. Thank you for sharing your time and your practice. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. It was a little bumpy there.